Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fine Print. Today we continue episode 2 of our new series, What If, where we discuss historical events and what would have happened if they had a different outcome. The year was 1961. The Socialist Union Party chairman Walter Albright and Soviet Prime Minister Nikita Khrushchev's phone calls made it apparent that the Prime Minister had initiated the construction of the Berlin Wall, a physical barrier that was to be instituted, dividing Europe between East and West. Other sources, however, claimed that he was reluctant to build the wall, fearing increased tensions with the West. Albright signed an order to build a wall and close the border between Eastern Europe, controlled by Soviet communism, and Western Europe, held up by American capitalism, to prevent the migration of residents from the East to the West. At midnight, guards officially began the construction of what would become one of the first forms of the border that would divide the East from the West. By the 13th of August, the Eastern German troops and workers had torn up the foundations of the streets to the extent to which traveling by vehicle was almost impossible. Instead, they installed barbed wire fences that divided eastern and western Berlin. Although the barbed wire was fairly easy to cross as compared to the wall built later on, it symbolized the beginnings of a physical divide that would penetrate through the political stability of Europe during the Cold War. In just 4 days, a proper concrete wall was built, with soldiers standing in front of it, given orders to shoot anyone who tried to pass it. Eastern Berliners suffered the most due to this wall. Many East Berliners relied on the West for their employment and livelihood. Families were split, and West Berlin became increasingly isolated from the capitalist world. Until November 9, 1989, the wall remained a testament to the political divisions that plagued Cold War tensions. On the evening of November 9th, East Germans began to gather at the wall, demanding that the guards open the gates and allow them to pass through. The guards were initially reluctant and asked their superiors for further instructions, but they were soon outnumbered and were forced to allow the massive East German crowd to pass through. But what would have happened if the Berlin Wall never fell? Would East Germany have remained communist? Would the member nations of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, have intervened to dismantle the wall? Would the Soviet Union have remained in power for longer? While it is tough to predict its exact effects, we can make some educated guesses. One likely possibility is that the Soviet Union would have retained control for longer. If their Eastern Germany satellite would have stayed in control for longer, communism would have prevailed for a longer time period. However, because East Germany fell in 1989, the Soviets had realized that controlling their satellite-filled Eastern Bloc would be increasingly difficult, paired with internal rebellions against the communist government. If the Berlin Wall hadn't fallen, the Cold War might have stretched over a longer time period, leading to increased tensions between the Soviet Union and the United States. A divided Germany might even mean increased regional differences over time. Although the culture of the Germans living in Germany prior to the installation of the Berlin Wall was largely similar, a distinct Eastern and Western identity could have developed if the wall had remained for longer. While the East would have come under a more strenuous communist Soviet influence, the West would have come under more free market, capitalist, and Western influence. This might have given rise to Western Germany becoming a close ally of the United States, as well as a strategic location for the US in case of a conflict with the Soviet Union. Their culture would have become increasingly similar to American ideals and norms, while Eastern Germany would have come to resemble the Soviet way of life, altering Germanic relations for the rest of history. Furthermore, tensions over the capital city of Berlin would have led to Europe becoming a militaristic hotspot for conflict between NATO and the Warsaw Pact. Away from the serious stuff, if the Berlin Wall had never fallen, car manufacturing beasts like Volkswagen or the BMW would have been less likely to become a global success, as Western Germany alone wouldn't have been able to mass produce products and globalize the German brand to international markets. And although this episode was just a fun spin off to analyze what could have gone down in Europe if the Berlin Wall had never fell, the falling of the Berlin Wall historically represents something much bigger than political disputes, ideological debates, or economical disagreements. The wall was credited for disrupting the German way of life, for breaking families, destroying East Germany's hope for an escape into a freer West, and limited self expression, speech, and confidence in the East, while the West could only look on. The fall of the Berlin Wall thus symbolizes unity in diversity, dispute, and despair. It represents the fight of the German people to come together to destroy the wall, both physical and mental, that separated them for decades. The Berlin Wall is a testament to the unwavering determination of the German people to achieve unity in the face of division. Until next time, keep following Fine Print for more episodes and keep reading between the lines.